Perfect. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you all tonight. And we are just going to get started standing up today. Just being comfortable and cozy. If you've got layers on, enjoy your layers. I welcome you to just notice how your body feels as you stand upright today. Maybe explore lifting all 10 toes away from the yoga mat. And just notice how your stance, your posture, how everything feels here. And then rotate your palms so that they face forward and you can spread your fingers out wide. And then as you breathe, explore this idea of breathing all the way beyond the very edges of your skin. So your inhale gets as full as it can, while still being comfortable and not forced. And your exhale is just a slow and gentle process, not a rushed thing. Maybe as you pause here, you just tune into the different sounds that are happening around you, different layers. The closer ones like the sound of your own breathing. And the ones that are a little bit further away from you, maybe even outside of your space. No matter what they are, just noticing all the pieces that make up this moment today. And with your next breath in, lift your arms all the way up as high as you can, reaching out through the fingertips. Squeeze your core muscles in tightly and reach both arms up to the left, reaching all the way out through the fingertips. But don't let the tailbone lift up behind you. Really keep the core super active and maybe reach a little further, allowing that left arm to lift a little further than the right. And then core squeezes come all the way back to the middle. Exhale, right side. Again, abdomen squeezes. So if my core wasn't active here, the tailbone could kind of lift up as you side stretch. We want to keep it drawn in with the strength of the core muscles. Full inhale and full exhale. And then both arms lift right back up. And as you exhale, bend your knees forward, fold. Allow your head and your neck to just relax here for a moment and really allow your knees to deeply bend. There's no need for straight legs. And you're welcome to hang on to your elbows for a moment, or you can even tuck your hands right underneath your feet and just notice the gentle grounding pressure of feet resting on your hands. Notice the space around your spine and really breathe into the muscles of your back. If your hands are tucked, untuck them. Walk them up to your thighs to a halfway lift where you draw your shoulders away from the ground. Breathe in. Make the back of your neck nice and long and spacious. And as you exhale, fold right back down and step your right foot all the way back. And then right hand totally settles down onto the yoga mat. You're going to shift or heel toe your left foot back a little bit, back into the left even. And then both your feet rotate to the left. And no floppy ankles here. Really press your feet down into the mat and lift the left arm up overhead. Horizon lunge and a big stretch for that outer left hip. You can always come down onto your elbow for another option here. Breathe in. And breathe out. Left arm reaches all the way up over by your ear. Notice the very tips of your fingers in the air around you. And then the left hand comes down to the mat as you roll back onto the tiptoes, or roll back so your feet are pointing forward, and lower the right knee down to the ground. Untuck the toes And shift your hips back till you can roll up onto the heel of your left foot, and you do not need a straight leg here. Hamstrings can get plenty stretched with a bent knee. So just point the toes upward and maybe allow your head to relax down. You're welcome to crawl your hands as far forward as you'd like here. Left heel presses down into the yoga mat and gently pulls back as well. And then bend your left knee, set the left foot down to the ground. Allow your hips to just sink down for a moment. Full inhale and relax your core, relax your abdomen as you breathe in. And then exhale. Hips shift back a little bit so your hips are over that back knee. Squeeze your core, lift both arms all the way up. And then your abdominal muscles really squeeze and draw in here so that we can find a stretch on the front of your right hip. You're welcome to explore any of these shapes with your eyes closed and notice how that affects your balance, your point of focus, where your vision is at. Incredibly affects balance within and also as we move throughout life. Core squeezes, left arm reaches forward and then sweeps down and all the way back as the right arm reaches forward. Continue to really, really squeeze the core and breathe. And then right hand reaches forward, squeeze the abdomen, bring your right hand down to the ground. Left arm can lift up or you can bring it to your hip for a little stability. Bring your hips right over that back knee and then slowly lift up your left foot and reach it all the way back behind you. Let your right foot swing out a little bit for balance and support here. Woo. If you wobble, it means your muscles are learning something new. Press out through the left heel, squeeze your core, and then left arm up over your ear. Breathe in here and breathe out. And then both your knee and your hand come back down to the ground, tabletop position. Tuck your toes under. Breathe in, cow pose. And exhale. Round your spine, cat pose. Head, neck, and shoulders relax. And then tuck your toes under, lift up your hips, up and back, downward facing dog. And maybe make your down dog a little bit longer than you might want to, or naturally gravitate towards. Knees are super welcome to be bent here. Just press the ground away from you with your hands. And notice each of your toes resting on the yoga mat. Full inhale. And full exhale. Not really needing your breath to be anything in particular, but just witnessing it as however it feels today. And then tiptoe your feet all the way to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, stand all the way up. Lift up your arms. And exhale, hands right to your heart. Pausing here for a breath or two. Maybe eyes are open, maybe they're closed. Notice where your shoulders are sitting. Breathe in, lift up your arms. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. And then lift up halfway, hands to your thighs, shoulders draw away from the ground. Find some length around the back of your neck, and then with your exhale, forward fold. Hands settle down to the ground, and your left foot steps way back. And then rotate both of your feet to point to the right so they point toward the long edge of your mat. And you're welcome to keep both hands down or lift the right arm up. And then right arm can stay reaching up, or you're welcome to reach it up over your ear and lift the hips a little higher. Breathe in and breathe out. Bring your right hand back down to the ground. Rotate both feet to point forward. Lower the back knee down. Untuck the toes or keep them tucked. It's kind of up to you and your knee. You can always use your cushion for a little bit of support for the back knee. And then hips shift back. Roll up onto the heel of your right foot. And allow your head to just not need to be supported. Allow it to just soften forward. The more your toes reach up toward the ceiling, the more you might feel the back of the shin and the hamstrings. You can press your heel down and drag it back or try to pull it back on the mat, even though it stays where it is, to just create a little more of a stretch and an active stretch at that. One more full breath in. Hands reach forward. And then exhale. Bend your right knee, set your foot to the ground. Breathe and lift both arms all the way up. Here, if the core is relaxed, the rib cage tends to flare and a little back bend happens often in the lower back. So we really want to squeeze the core and stretch the front of the left hip or your left hip flexors. If your right knee is caving in, dial it out to the right and squeeze the floor with your big toe. Noticing all the little tiny details of your own movement, your own strength. Right hand reaches forward and then sweeps down and all the way back. And left arm reaches forward. So it's a twist from the upper back. Abdomen draws in. Hopefully there's still a little bit of a stretch happening in the front of your left hip. And breathe. And both arms lift all the way up. Left hand down to the inside of your right foot. Right arm can reach up, or you can place your hand to your hip. And go slow here. Your left foot will swing out a little bit as you lift your right leg all the way up and reach it straight back. I think my favorite movement right now. One to play with. Press out through the right heel. Squeeze your abdominal muscles. Right arm lifts up. Inhale. And if your left shoulder is kind of rounding forward, see if you can just draw the left shoulder back so your shoulder blade hugs your rib cage. One more breath in, maybe right arm up over the ear if you'd like to really find some length here. And then exhale, hands and knees down to the ground. Breathe in, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Walk your hands forward. And then hips shift back a little bit as you bring your forehead down toward the ground. And if the ground is too far away, fold your blanket over and put it underneath your forehead so you can be up a little higher. But allow your hands to crawl as far forward as they can, up on your fingertips. And in this fashion, your shoulders will lift up by your ears, so your scapula get a little bigger range of motion than they might normally. And in this shape, I invite you to notice the way it feels to really relax and breathe, to invite your abdomen to have a full range of motion as you breathe. Each inhale, your breath expands outward in every single direction on your torso, not just forward. And then take your left arm and leave it underneath your right arm. Continue to reach the right arm way forward. Twist. If you want to be a little more active, you can press the tops of your feet down into the earth. And same thing with that left shoulder. Breathe in and breathe out. If you ever catch yourself holding your breath, it's just a great moment to know that you need to come back to breathing. For being a yoga teacher, I hold my breath way more often than I should. And then bring your right hand down by your face for a little extra support. Lift your right knee and right foot off the ground. And pause here. You'll want to go really, really slow. If you tip over, it's just like a little roll and it's kind of fun. So if that happens, enjoy it. Right leg reaches back and point the toes. Squeeze your core muscles. It might even help lift the right hip a little bit. And then reach your right leg all the way out to the side and press out through the right heel. Breathe in and breathe out. Right foot lowers all the way down to the ground. And then bring your left arm all the way to reach up toward the sky, as far up as it'll happily go. Breathe in and breathe out. Weave your left arm all the way back underneath the right arm, head and shoulder down to the ground. Lift your right foot back up. Go so slow. Notice how your core supports your leg. Right leg reaches back behind you. And then bring your right knee back underneath you. Inhale. Once more, left arm all the way back up to the sky. And exhale, left hand down. Both hands crawl forward one more time. Forehead lowers down to the ground. Puppy dog pose or heart melting pose. Fingertips crawl all the way forward. Shoulders lift up by your ears. And instead of letting the rib cage flare to relax, press the tops of your feet gently down into the ground. And then from there, while you really keep the feet pressing down, see if you can just lower your heart a tiny bit more toward the floor. Maybe it's just an incremental amount. And instead of really focusing there, I invite you to press the tops of your feet down and explore the idea of breathing into the space behind your heart, so the upper back. Shoulders really lift up by the ears. Tops of the feet press down. Even every time they lift back up, just invite them back down. And relax. Reach the right arm underneath the left arm. Left hand crawls all the way forward so you get a stretch behind that left shoulder. Pause here. Full inhale. Exhale. And your breath is a tool that can kind of be used to help stretch the areas, the muscles around your vertebrae. Bring your left hand back by your face. Squeeze your core. Let your right foot swing out a little bit as you extend your left leg back behind you. And by swing out, I mean don't do that. Keep your right foot where it was. Core squeezes. Bring your left foot out to the side and lower your left foot down to the ground. Breathe in here. And breathe out. Right shoulder, right shin can press down into the earth. Your left foot, the toes can point in any direction that feels good for your knee and your hip. And then very slowly lift up onto the tiptoes of the left foot. Squeeze the abdomen. Float your left foot all the way up. If you're with your family, maybe you reach over with your foot and try to poke someone to fall over. And then reach your left leg back behind you. And very slowly, left knee back down to the ground. Inhale, right arm all the way up. Full breath in. And exhale, right hand down to the ground. Tuck your toes under. Hips lift up and back, downward facing dog. Flowing a little bit quicker here, not to seek perfection, but to just feel the way your body is moving today, here and now. So right leg lifts up to the sky. Full inhale, press the ground away from you. And as you exhale, step your right foot behind your right wrist. Rotate both feet to point to the right. Inhale, right arm sweeps all the way up. And then slowly over the ear as you lift your hips. Bring your right hand down to the ground. Both feet rotate to point forward. Lower your left knee down. Shift your hips back. Rock up onto the heel of that right foot. Long back of the neck. Breathe in. And exhale, bend your knee. Squeeze your core. Lift both your arms up. Full inhale. And as you exhale, right arm sweeps down. And then back as your left arm reaches forward. Core really, really draws in. And then both arms lift up, shoulders lift. Exhale, both hands down to the inside of your right foot. Hips shift back a little bit. You can tuck the toes under or keep them untucked. It's up to you. And then you get that right foot to lift up and reach it all the way back behind you as you rotate your left foot out to the left a little bit. Right arm reaches up. And then slowly bring your arm up over your ear. And notice how your shoulder rotates to accommodate that. Breathe in. And exhale, right hand down to the ground. Left toes tuck under. Squeeze the core. Lift your right leg all the way up and back. Breathe in. And as you exhale, right knee into your chest. Squeeze your knee in close. Cross the right leg underneath you off to the left side of your yoga mat. An option to keep both hands down, or option to lift the right arm all the way up over the ear. Breathe into the left side. And as you exhale, both hands down on the ground. Right foot slides all the way back next to the left foot. Inhale. And exhale. Notice where your heartbeat is at, how it feels. If you can feel it in your chest or anywhere else within your body. Maybe your fingertips or your head. Left leg lifts up. Breathe in. And then exhale, step your left foot all the way forward. Full inhale. Both hands to the inside of your left foot. Heel toe it back a little bit because I said to step too far forward. Rotate your feet to the left. And then left arm is welcome to lift up or keep it down on the ground. Hips lift high. And slowly notice your fingers move through the air as you reach your left arm up over your ear. And then bring it all the way down to the ground. Rotate so you can lower the back knee down to the ground. Shift your hips back. Roll up onto the heel of your left foot. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then set your left foot down to the ground. Squeeze your core. Lift up both your arms. Abdominal muscles draw in to help stretch the front of the right hip. Left arm reaches forward, then sweeps down and all the way back as your right arm reaches forward. Kind of noticing how the arms tilt and swing together. Different movements that flow and work with you, not as separate limbs. And then both arms reach up. Exhale, right hand down to the inside of your foot. Left hand can be at your hip. Slowly lift that left foot all the way up, out to the side. Reach it back. Let your right foot swing out for a little bit of stability here. Press out through your left heel. And then reach your left arm up over your ear. And your right hand root each knuckle down to the ground. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then the left hand comes back down to the mat. Tuck your toes under. Lifts the knee up. Three-legged down dog. And then bring your left knee into your chest, plank pose. Cross the left foot underneath you over to the opposite side of your yoga mat, or even beyond, rather. You can keep both hands down, or if you'd like, you can bring your right arm up. And then right hand back down to the ground. Slide your left foot back to meet the right. Lower both knees down to the ground. Shift your hips back, child's pose. You can fold your arms on top of each other and just allow your forehead to relax. Using the shape as a place to just notice what your body does to slow itself back down. The movement that your whole torso creates as you breathe. And I welcome you to notice a felt sense of the space behind your spine. Behind your head, behind your spine. We're in a society where we do so much to go, go, go and do more and more. It's always a forward motion. And so as a result of that, the backside of the body isn't noticed as much. And so just draw a little attention there. Breathe into those spaces to help just create a balance. And from here, you'll come all the way back up to tabletop position. And we're going to find a seated position. Swing both legs out in front of you. If you have really tight hamstrings, sit on your blanket. That can be very, very helpful. Both legs extend forward. You're going to grab the squish and pull the squish back to help tilt your pelvis forward so that your heart can reach forward ever so slightly. Toes point up towards the ceiling. And hands just rest on your legs wherever. And with that simple action of your heart, your sternum bone, reaching forward and up a little bit, it just helps you tilt the pelvis ever so slightly so that your hammies can get a little more of a stretch. And then sit all the way back up. Both hands come to the ground behind you. Bend your knees a little bit. And then cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Figure 4. Instead of a pointed, floppy right foot, pull the toes in toward your kneecap. And then if this is really tight for you, just slide your left foot forward a little bit and then just lift up your heart from there. If you need a little more, You just scoot your left foot in a little bit closer. And then I welcome you to explore a little movement from around the pelvis here. You can tilt side to side and press the knee forward. Notice if there's one spot that helps you find a spot that needs a little more stretching than another. You can even kind of rock a little bit onto the right hip to help massage the muscles that are getting stretched at the same time to just find another form of release for them. This stretch is one that helps the lower back feel a lot more relaxed and more comfortable throughout the day because the muscles that we're getting to here are attached to the lower back and they pull on those vertebrae when they get tight from just sitting at work. And then extend your left leg all the way back out. And you can set your right foot down on the left side of your knee or the right side, either or. And then reach your left arm up as high as you can. Really feel your sit bones beneath you. And then wrap that left arm around the right and bring your right hand down to the ground behind you. Gaze all the way over your right shoulder. And you're welcome to explore either tilting your chin or your ear down toward the shoulder to stretch the left side of the neck. And then untwist. Switch legs. Right leg stretches out. Left ankle crosses over the right thigh. And then figure 4. Bend that right knee as much as you need to for this side of the body. One side might feel a lot tighter than the other, and don't force them both to do the same thing. Toes pull in towards your kneecap and lifting your heart up, kind of finding more of a cow pose shape to the spine can help that outer hip stretch. Again, you're welcome to pause here, or you can rock over onto that left hip a little bit to help massage the muscles. And then you'll extend the right leg all the way out and set your foot to either the outside or the inside of your knee, either or. Right arm lifts all the way up, and then wrap it around your knee and bring your left hand to the mat behind you. You're welcome to tilt your chin or your ear down toward the left shoulder. And then unwind. Have your blanket nearby. And you'll recline all the way onto your back. And place the blanket in between the ankles and the knees. So it goes kind of in between the shins. Blanket or the pillow, either or. If it's comfortable, you can place your hands under your head and just help open the shoulders a little more. And then you'll lower both knees all the way over to the right side for a more passive, restful stretch. The Blanket creates a little space between the knees so that the pelvis is comfortable. And as you rest here, notice the support of the floor, the ground beneath you, that constant gentle pressure that's always there to support you and invite rest. See if you can soften the left hip a little bit more, and your jaw and your shoulders. Just be for a moment. And then both knees come back to the middle and right over to the opposite side. Witnessing how your body feels now as things have started to slow down. As you soften the jaw, notice the rest of the muscles around your face. You're working all day long. And maybe invite even the cheeks and your forehead to soften. And then come back through the middle. So take your yoga blanket and lay it across your mat. And then your upper back goes right onto the blanket, but it's below the armpits. So your arms are completely resting on the ground. And if it's at all uncomfortable for you, you don't have to have the blanket. And I welcome you to explore what you'd like to do with the legs. You can have the knees bent for a more gentle curve to the back, or you can have the legs straight, or even crisscross applesauce style. That tends to stretch the hips a little and might take you away from complete relaxation, but it might just be the thing you need today. So arms reach out wide. Shoulders and arms are on the floor. And just the upper back has a little gentle lift to it. And then in that space just behind your forehead, visualize the candle flame. One simple candle flame. What color it is, if it changes colors. Is there a temperature or a texture to it? Does it flicker or hold steady? As you breathe, does the candle flame change at all for you? And just hold your attention there. Picturing or practicing picturing one simple flame. And then go ahead and breathe in a really full breath, as much air as you possibly can, and hold your breath at the very top of your inhale. Sip in a little bit more air, and then open mouth exhale all the way out. One more full breath in, and then let it go all the way out. Can work your way to a full body stretch, toes to fingertips. And then as you feel ready, you can make your way all the way back up to a seated position. Thank you, friends, so much for joining me for class today.